And greetings YouTube gamers, welcome to another episode of Retro Raider. My name is Johnny Retro and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of my new series called Retro Games from Japan. And like the name suggests, this is a series of videos of reviews from retro games exclusively released in Japan. On my first video, which I will leave the link down below for you guys to check it out if you haven't watched it yet, we reviewed Bahamut Lagoon, and today's game is not an RPG, but it's another game for the Super Famicom. It is a platform game called MagicalPop'n. Now, I kinda discovered this game randomly a couple of months ago when I was doing some research on YouTube, and just by the looks of the game, I was very intrigued about it and very curious. And it turns out, guys, that this is indeed a hidden gem that never got a release outside of the land of the rising sun. First things first, what is MagicalPop'n all about? MagicalPop'n is a side-scrolling action platformer developed by Polestar and published by Pack Video. It was released in March 10 of 1995 exclusively for the Super Famicom in Japan. The gameplay consists of platforming, action, exploration, and some backtracking to find hidden treasures and items to boost our character. Now, usually what we look for in an old-school platformer like this one, it's really good controls, good mechanics, fun gameplay. Usually it is a straightforward genre, going from point A to point B, and usually a big plot and background story. It's not something that we really care about in platformer games, but let's just say that the plot in MagicalPop'n is an extra crisp element, if you will. The story takes place in Touhou, a peaceful kingdom where magic flourished and homeland of our protagonist, the princess. The princess is an energetic young girl, very talented in the magical arts, who lives in the kingdom's castle with her mentor and caretaker, Gramps. During a lecture session, Gramps' crystal ball began to glow and float off the table, predicting an upcoming evil event. However, the princess got distracted and didn't notice the future omen. Later on at the same night, an army headed by the Demon King invaded the kingdom and stole the magic jewel. This magic jewel holds a tremendous power that allows the Demon King to conquer and rule the world with ease. After this event, the princess embarks on a journey to defeat the Demon King and retrieve the magical jewel back to the kingdom. Well, simple, but it suits the theme and the atmosphere of the game. Now, I'm going to jump right into the graphics, guys, because like I said, the looks of the game, it's what really got me to it. Let me tell you guys, the graphics of MagicalPop'n are simply astonishing. The Super Nintendo library has provided us with some of the most beautiful 16 graphics during its generation, but MagicalPop'n, it almost feels like a brand new level. No pun intended, by the way. The colors are vibrant and crisp, the sprites are very detailed, the backgrounds are sharp and very detailed also, and the animations are super fluid. I mean, from the movements, the attacks, even the face expressions. We even have intro and outro cutscenes with a variety of image scenes in a mixed approach of classic cartoons, if you will, and anime. Actually, the box art of the game was made by anime artist Takami Akai. So putting it simple, guys, the game is just beautiful to look at. Next, I want to talk about the main character, the princess, because it's very interesting and it does have a peculiar background to it. Our protagonist, the princess, is very charismatic, and it was actually voiced, which was very rare back in the day for a 16-bit game. And it was voiced by the actress Ai Ijima, who sadly passed away in 2008. During her life, she was best known as a mainstream TV celebrity and also a movie actress. And by movie actress, I mean adult movie actress. Yeah, porn. We're talking about porn here. I'm not judging here at all, guys, but I mean, it's funny. A porn actress voicing a character on a Super Nintendo game. Nintendo game. It's fun. Yeah, but I mean, you gotta love Japan. But now let's talk about the core of the game, and I'm talking about, of course, the gameplay. The game is divided into 6 very long levels with individual themes and environments. We have a rooftop city level, a forest level, ice and fire theme levels, and although these themes are kinda cliche, especially in platform games, they are very well put together in MagicalPop'n. The game offers a bunch of different branching paths, and with the lack of a map, it's easy to get lost in them, so we really need to do a lot of backtracking. By exploring different paths, new rooms, and routes, we will eventually find hidden treasures. Sometimes it can be extra lives, ammo, other times can be hearts that will improve our health bar, and taking into account that we can't go back to previous levels, finding hearts and increasing our health is crucial because it will determine the difficulty of the game, especially in later levels. Because let me tell you guys, although it isn't frustrating and the controls are good, this game is hard. It is a hard game. And speaking about the controls, let's talk about movement, because there's a lot going on in MagicalPop'n. Now, putting it simple, the movement is smooth, very fluid, and packed with action. Although kinda complex, because we use pretty much the whole controller of the Super Nintendo. We have a basic jump, a basic attack, and we can also slide, grapple, and crouch. But we also have these special attacks, 6 in total. We start the game with 1 and we discover a brand new one in each level. We have a magical beam, a grappling hook, fire and ice attacks, and last but not least, throwing bombs. Unlocking these special abilities and magical powers are crucial and they're a main part of this game. We can use them to find secret areas, breaking through obstacles, and even fighting the right mechanics to defeat bosses. By using these abilities, we will spend ammo points, or stars. We spend a little with the standard attack and a little bit more with an enhanced magical attack by pressing the select button. Yeah, the select button, like I said, we use pretty much all of the buttons in this game. And I must admit that even though it is a retro game, it is kinda complex at the beginning, but you will get used to it. Now, aside from the astonishing visuals, these abilities also provide a lot of diversity, depth, and some replayability to the game because we can use them to approach the game in different ways. So we can arguably say that it isn't that much straightforward in the sense that each player, each gamer, will approach the game in a different way. But let's go back and talk a little bit more about the controllers. We have a lot of moves at our disposal, and like I said it before, it is kinda complex for a Super Nintendo game because we use pretty much every button on the controller. And overall the controllers are pretty tight and it's very smooth to switch between each attack. The only complaint I have with the controllers is when using the magical grappling hook. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing to spot on the right momentum and it can be a little bit frustrating, but aside from that, that's all good. Another thing that keeps a platformer game fresh and fun is the level design. And again, even though MagicalPop'n touches in a couple of cliches, I think that it is very clever and very well put together. Level design is very well put together with plenty of platforms and obstacles to go through, and the pacing of the game feels right all the time, even with the backtracking. The game never forces us to use the same approach each time we came across an obstacle or an enemy, and that really gives room to intuition and creativity. The bosses and enemies are very diverse, fitting each theme, and we do have multiple bosses in each level, and that final boss of the game, let me tell you, the Demon King is just epic. That fight was challenging, packed with action, and it really feels like a proper end boss. I remember when I was fighting the last boss, it kind of felt like an end boss of an RPG. I'm not kidding. This dude could easily be the final boss in an RPG like Secret of Mana or Chrono Trigger. Yeah, good stuff here. Really good stuff. Now let's talk about the music, because as a musician, of course, that music and sound bites is crucial. It's very important for me in a video game. On the music department, well, although we only have a small handful of tracks, which some are reused throughout the game, they're very catchy and they sound incredibly, each one fitting the theme and setting and with the right tone for each level. The sound bites are also spot on, and let's not forget again, guys, this game has voice acting. And for the younger audience, that was big. Voice acting was big back in the day, especially in a 16-bit game. Now everything is looking good so far, and this is indeed an incredible game, but it's not perfect. I do have a small complaint about the game, and it is worth noticing. And it's that a couple of times, in later levels especially, I did experience a couple of slowdown times. Not too much, but enough to break the momentum a little bit. And it really sucks, because the game has indeed a very good pacing, and these slowdown times, sometimes it breaks that feeling, that momentum. Again, guys, it doesn't happen too often. I think that I experienced that 3 or 4 times in the whole game, but like I said, it's worth noticing. Aside from that, MagicalPop'n looks and sounds great. It is kinda short, but fun and challenging, and that's all that we want in a platform game like this. The game was the second release by Polestar, and its success was short-lived, mainly due to the fact that it was a late release on the Super Famicom and it lacked a Western release. And let's face it, at the time, in the mid-90s, the game market was dominated by teen-aged boys, and playing as a cute little princess with a magical wand was not very appealing. But nowadays, it is a must-play in my opinion. And one last thing, as you can see, I don't own the game, I wish, and the reason for that is because, well, this game is very expensive. I'm not kidding, guys. Usually Super Famicom games are cheaper, but this is one of those games where just the cart, a couple of $100. In euros, I really don't know, but I think that a complete copy can reach 400 maybe. But for the hardcore collectors out there, I think that it is fair to say that this is a holy grail on the Super Famicom library. So hey, if you can find one at a decent price, kudos for you. But for the rest of us, emulation, and it's easy to find a ROM of this game with the translation. So last but not least, and to sum it up, do I recommend this game? I totally do. I do recommend this game. The Super Nintendo really doesn't lack of amazing platformer games, I mean, there's just a bunch of them on the Super Nintendo. It is pretty much heaven on the system. But if you never explored the wonders of the Super Famicom in Japan, and if you're looking for a different approach of 2D side-scrolling platforming games, just play this one. And yes, the game has this kinda girlish look to it, you know, kinda cutie, but it's a very good example of don't judge a book by its cover. So if you like the Super Nintendo library, if you like old school 16-bit side-scrolling platforming games, I mean, this is without a doubt a must-play. Oh, and just one quick side note, it is true that this game resembles a little bit the shoot-'em-up Magical Chase on the TurboGrafx, but it's a different thing. It is not part of the same universe or anything like that. It's a different game. And that was the video, guys. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this brand new review of retro games from Japan. And please let me know down below if you knew about MagicalPop'n. Also, let me know about a couple of your favorite exclusive platformer games on the platform. So let me know down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to put a like on this video. Please subscribe to the channel and take care of yourselves, take care of the gaming community, and game a lot.